chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' Crew.
And welcome back to Straight Chillin'. My name is Justin, and today I'm actually out at the Bucheon International Fantastic Film Festival here in South Korea. And I have a special guest with me here today. I have an opportunity to speak with Franklin Ritch, who is the writer, director, editor, and lead actor in his new film, The Artifice Girl, which has been getting a lot of buzz here at the festival in Korea and at festivals all over the world. So I'm super excited to get an opportunity to talk with you about your film and some other things as well. So welcome, Franklin. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. It's awesome being here.
Yeah. So right off the bat, the first thing I got to knock out is you're from Jacksonville, Florida, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So this is the craziest thing because our podcast, Straight Chilling Podcast, there's 3 members, me, Bob, and Randy, and we are all Jacksonville natives.
You're kidding.
Jacksonville native. We had our 400th episode in the back room of Rain Dogs this past December.
No way.
Yeah.
I was just there the other day.
Yeah.
In the back room.
Yeah, in the back room. We did a screening in around Thanksgiving, I think it was, because we did Blood Rage.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah. I
Well,
think that was
next
just last
time you're
year.
in town, hit me up. We'll go to Sunray. We'll go watch a movie or something.
Yeah, so when I saw your film at Overlook, kind of to jump off that, so in the film itself, there was your lead character makes a reference to Tampa. He's from Tampa.
Right.
And you mentioned the Clearwater Kids, and you actually mentioned Jacksonville, Florida. And I thought, this is super weird. I was like, we just don't get mentioned that often. And
It's funny how it's happening more and more, though. Like with Deadpool and the Good Place, like
Bruce Campbell too.
Right. Evil Dead.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe it's a coincidence, but I looked up and I was like, oh my God, I think he's from Jacksonville. That's
Sure is.
wild. So yeah, going off that idea though, with all those mentions, I was curious if it's important to you to present yourself as a director from Florida.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of where I grow up. I know it's a weird place, and it's got its, we'll call them quirks, right? But I really do think that there is a lot of untapped talent and potential in Jacksonville. Everybody involved in this project is from Jacksonville except for Lance, right? So yeah, I think I would like for my future projects to be from Jacksonville. I'd love to make Jacksonville kind of like the New Zealand of America, and have it kind of be like, I'd love to be the Taika Waititi of Florida. I think that'd be awesome. There's some other incredible filmmakers from Florida. Obviously, we got films like Moonlight and Florida Project shot there. But yeah, I think to me, like Jacksonville is like it's sort of a microcosm of Florida, which is sort of a microcosm of America, and all of the weirdness is sort of distilled. And I just think that it's like a great setting for weird, interesting, like stories about unexpected miracles and things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool to hear, especially, growing up there, being born there and everything like that. It's cool. It's always great to champion local artists and to see you get some success and everything. It's really great. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So I watched this film at the Overlook Film Festival, and it has been getting a lot of praise since then, and I think even before then. And I was just curious, how has it affected your life so far?
Great question. Everybody was sort of telling me leading up to the release, like, oh, your life is going to change, like once this comes out. And it's like, yeah, whatever. But no, it really did. It was wild. The film had its like world premiere back in July of last year.
Okay.
At Fantasia, which was a terrific festival up in Montreal. And, you know, from there, it's like, you start getting all these emails and general Zoom calls with like managers and producers, and then like celebrities start texting you out of the blue, and it's really weird. And yeah, I mean, it's been really great. I love like now there's sort of like a credibility kind of element, which is great in conversations with these wonderful producers and people in the industry, which is great because they're like, yeah, you made this like really smart speculative sci-fi. Like, what do you want to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to make a movie about bees running for president. Like, I don't know. Like, and they'll nod and like be like, yeah, interesting. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. He wrote the Artifice Girl, so he's onto something. But no, I really love like just meeting everybody and getting connected with all of these incredible like artists and filmmakers, and it feels really spectacular just sort of getting to kind of like talk to all of these other people having these similar experiences making films, independent films, and realizing that we're all dealing with the same kinds of problems that we're trying to solve and experiencing the same highs and the same lows. So that's been great. It even though the world is like opened up and it feels a lot bigger, and I've been traveling more than I've ever had in my entire life, it also feels like there's more people out there that I can talk to and relate with, which is great.
Awesome, cool. That's perfect to hear. Since you play in the film, I was curious, when and you wrote the film, so when you're writing a character for yourself, there's a lot of moral questions kind of that go on in this film.
Right.
Do you answer those for yourself before you write it, or do you kind of like go along? How does that work for you?
I don't know. I didn't write the character for myself to play. That honestly was a decision that came out of budgetary reasons. We shot the entire first act on our own without any funding. All of that first act.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have any money. And it just, looking at the budget, it was like, well, that's one less person we have to pay if I play the role. And it's a role that I could play. I feel like I could sort of, there was a lot of myself that I put into Gareth, just in sort of like his sort of, when he's pessimistic, and not that I'm like that all the time. It's just he's a lot of negative traits I see in myself. I put into Gareth, and I felt comfortable playing the role for a few reasons. One, my director of photography I'd worked with for so long. There was that sort of trust, and the cast who I'd worked with on several other projects and acted with them. And just extensive pre-production planning. So for those reasons, I felt comfortable. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. I don't know if I'll ever act in a film I make. I'd love to act in other people's stuff, if there are any agents out there listening. But
pick this guy up.
Yeah, hey, Dr. Doom would be cool to play. I don't know, like, but hit me up, Kevin. But no, for when writing Gareth, though, I always kind of approached him knowing that, like, this was not the protagonist of the story. And it's interesting that you said, like, oh, the lead role. And I'm sure a lot of people perceive him as like the lead man since he's in all three acts. But in reality, he's the antagonist the whole time. He's always keeping, and in each act, I think, has a different protagonist. He's always keeping those characters from achieving their goals and their intentions. And he's also like, he might be doing the right thing, or he might have good intentions, right? But the way that he carries them out is problematic. That's the whole premise. It's like with Batman, you're dealing with your trauma in a way that might be productive, but it's not healthy. And you have to be mindful of that, because that carries over to future generations, and the things that you do, the choices that you make, the people that you call into existence, like that matters.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this film, though, it's interesting to see people talk about it, the reviews and how it's labeled, because it's kind of like a sci-fi thriller. And it's interesting because it does have this kind of dark element, even though there's nothing particular, there's nothing scary going on or anything like that. But it does have this kind of dark undertone. And I had watched another one of your shorts as well, Bedridden, which also has this kind of dark undertone to it. And of course, we're a horror podcast, so we review horror movies. And being here at this festival, the theme is, kind of like really strange things. Ari Aster opened up the festival and everything. Yeah. So I was just curious, do you have any particular desire to dive into more specific horror things, or is there anything in that realm that you would be interested in?
Yes.
Okay.
100% yes.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool seeing, Artifice Girl, when I approached it as a script, like I kind of knew what the tone would be, but like I also knew that it was just going to be dialogue, right? That's all we could afford to do. So we had to put all our chips on that. But I think it's been really cool seeing all of these horror fans come out and support it and say, like, especially the ones that do like, horror podcasts and horror, film reviews on YouTube. And they'll be like, we got to talk about the Artifice Girl. And they'd be like, it's not a horror film, but we got to talk about it. And I think that's really, really cool and really special. And I do think that, the people out there that loved the things that made Artifice Girl unique, and they'd like to see that with maybe some additional horror elements. Yeah. I think you guys are going to be really excited for future projects. I definitely think that horror, thriller, sci-fi, drama, even comedy, like getting a really fun blend of those is something that excites me. I look at one of my favorite horror films is Funny Games. That's a film that's almost entirely dialogue, right? Yeah. And it's brilliant and it's terrifying. I think it's one of the scariest films ever. So yeah, I love it. I love horror. Love talking about it. It's great.
I was wondering too, going back to, you have the YouTube channel, it's got your shorts on it.
Thank you for talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure I get it right, because the name is Last Resort Ideas. And the thing about that is, it kind of reminded me of another instance of, there's great stuff on there. Really good stuff. And the thing that is kind of frustrating in some ways, and I'm curious about your thoughts, is there's things on there that have less than 1,000 views, less than 500 sometimes. Yeah. And it reminded me, there was the video of, there was this amazing violin player who played for, the orchestra, and he's playing down in the New York City subway, and nobody's paying him any mind because of the setting. Yeah. And people just kind of like walk by. Some people stop. But I was curious, as a filmmaker, in a world where we have so much visual media, but it's driven by algorithms. Right. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, insignificant. Like, what do you? Here's what I think, because it's a little sad, and like Artifice Girl is doing gangbusters, right? Which is great. And this is if there's going to be a project that I do that needs to do well, it's the one where there's actually like that kind of value to it. But what I love though is, every once in a while, you'll see a comment on one of those YouTube videos, one of the short films that I've done, and they're like, why does this only have 100 views? Why is no one else this is what I'm sharing this with everybody. And the views never go up. Like they stay. But even after Artifice Girl, it seems like, because there's no one's going to know to go search this person on YouTube. But I think that's really cool that, like, for those few people that stumbled upon the YouTube channel, that watched one of these shorts, and like, that's special. I love coming across stuff that like no one else has seen. And for the people that go looking for it, maybe they'll find something that they really dig. I love that there's a nice variety on that channel too. Like you've got things like Bedridden, which are kind of more tonally like Artifice Girl, and then you got like the 27 Deaths, which is a totally different kind of vibe, right? That's going to be sort of the place where it's like, I'm going to be experimenting and continuing to like try weird things, and no one can be upset that it's like, just give us Artifice Girl 2, because I know that is a valid opinion. yeah, thank you for mentioning it though. There's a lot of stuff on there that I'm very proud of, and a lot of stuff there that I'm so very embarrassed about early work.
Well, that's great too. And I say it as so everyone, you should check it out. And the reason that I bring it up is because not to be discouraging, but actually to go on the opposite end and be encouraging, especially if anybody's kind of like watching this, because now your film is blowing up. And I'm glad, you know, there might be a time where that YouTube channel has, you know, hundreds of thousands of millions of views. And I'm glad if that happens, I caught it at this point because it was encouraging to me because people put a lot of work into creative things, and sometimes you don't always see the results.
Of course,
right away. Yeah.
Look at, and a lot of filmmakers out there. It's like, how do I want to make a movie? How do I start? You're just like, do it.
Yeah.
Look at Lights Out and Smile. Right, like those are phenomenal filmmakers who got their start just putting a short on YouTube. Right. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like he did the Portal fan film, right? I did a Batgirl fan film because I don't know, I wanted to.
Sure, yeah.
So like, yeah, if you're out there, just start making stuff and start putting it out there. It doesn't matter if people don't necessarily find it yet. Like you're gonna learn so much through that process. It doesn't matter. People will find it when it's ready, when it's time. And then, you know, it just takes the right person to find it, and then they'll give you, you know, a couple $100 to go do a big one. So
yeah. And just to kind of clarify, you brought it up before, but that's how this film kind of took off.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you were just like, I'm going to film the first portion of this, and just did it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was a script that I wrote during the pandemic, spring of 2020. And it was just one of those things where it was like kind of written for, I kind of wrote it in with this idea of like, maybe this could be like a hybrid thing where it could, you know, I always wanted it to be a film. I knew that it was like supposed to be a film, but I thought it would also work as like a virtual staged reading or a play or something like that. So one location, 3 characters, about as stripped down as you could possibly get. And we looked at it and said, could we shoot this? And we said, no, but we could shoot that whole first act. There's no production design. Like it is an empty room. And so then we did it. We shot the first act in the fall of 2020. I cut it together, mixed it. My director of photography colored it, packaged it, and we put a little video at the beginning. It was just like the cast being like, hello, this is half of our movie. Here's how much we need to finish it. And I sent that out to like the only connection I had in the industry, which was Peter Kaplowski, who's a curator at Fantastic Fest and TIFF Midnight, phenomenal human being. And he was the guy that was like, I'm going to get this in front of the right people. And that's how we got in touch with Paper Street and made the rest of the movie.
That's awesome. Go out there, create.
Do it. It's like, I know a lot of people out there that they shotgun their script, right? And then like you wait and you wait and you wait for years, and then finally a studio will buy it and then put it on a shelf and nothing ever happens. That is the nature of like shoot a proof of concept. If there's 2 pages, you can get your iPhone and shoot just 2 pages of and then package it as a short film, use that as a proof of concept, do that for a few months. If no one bites, then you send it to a festival, and then people get their eyes on it, and people talk to you, and you network, and you say, I've got a feature version of this. Like that's, I think, how you do it. Like it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good. It's very encouraging. I want to clarify too that I did find it very encouraging. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. I think a lot of people appreciate that kind of story behind a good film as well.
Sure.
It's not just the film. It's got a lot of heart behind it as well. So I know you kind of mentioned it before, but if budget wasn't an issue, not even necessarily what would you do, but like what kind of story would you want to bring to life, or what would you want to do?
Yeah. Something weird.
Something weird.
Like, you know, I know that like the next few films, I'm not, you know, Ari Aster. I can't I can't go and make Beau is Afraid next, as much as I would love to.
I'm surprised he was able to make
right. Like film number 3, we'll see. Yeah. Film number 2, I know is going to be sort of much more like you're going to see the trajectory from Artifice Girl to the follow-up film. But if no one cared, I don't know, I'd love to make like I don't know, like give me anything. I'll take any IP. I would love to do like a really like serious Beyblades movie that's like Call Me by Your Name. Like it's that kind of tone, but like some serious Beyblade action. I don't know. Like I'd love to do a really good Doom movie. I think that's a franchise that has like never seen its potential on film. I would love Doom with an M.
Not Dune.
not Dune. Denis doing a great job with it. I would love to, I don't know. I would love to do a Batgirl movie because Warner Brothers doesn't have a lot of
one that
exactly. Doesn't seem to have a lot of faith in the IP, but I would love to work with that character. It's been interesting because you get sent a lot of scripts, and then the running joke that I keep making is like Paramount keeps calling and asking me to do Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I'm like, listen, I appreciate the offer, but I just don't know if that's where my heart is at right now. I get why you want me. You saw Artifice Girl. You want to see
I'm kind of a big deal now. You know?
Yeah, I get it. You want to see Sonic talk about trauma. You want to see Metal Sonic deal with autonomy. Like, I get it. But I don't know. I just I got a lot of ideas.
Awesome.
And I've got several scripts, and I think the next one's going to be really exciting.
I know that you were working on this during the pandemic, and it's just now coming out, and it's kind of crazy timing.
Yeah,
and I think that probably helps the film in a lot of ways because a lot of people are thinking about and talking about AI right now. So, as a creative, how do you feel about AI generated art? Because it comes up actually in your film.
Yeah.
Crazy enough.
It was weird. Obviously, like it was really weird seeing like because I want to answer your question, but just talking about like the chain of events. Like I remember I picked AI because it seemed really topical in 2020. It was clearly like not as topical as it's been in the past few months, but I just thought I didn't really care much about AI at that time. I thought it was a really interesting way to explore themes of trauma and autonomy and that kind of stuff and identity. So we're working on this film, and like the article came out about the guy who quit Google because of and we're like, wow, that's in our movie. Like we did that, we wrote that, and then I remember we had finished shooting Act 3. In the spring of 2021. Okay. No, sorry, the fall of 2021. We finished shooting Act 3. We finished wrapped on the film in post-production, and the trailer for Megan came out. And I remember going, oh no, like she's blonde and she dances.
Wow, I didn't even think about
that. But obviously, like I saw the movie and it's phenomenal, and it's a completely different kind of story, doing a different thing, and it's great. And I love the idea of like doing a weird double feature with the two. But like it was clear that AI was becoming more and more popular until, of course, recently everything that's been happening and AI generated art is exploding and everyone's excited and terrified. And I understand both of those ideas, like understand where people are coming from on both sides. Personally, I thought, the quote unquote AI art was fun for the first day. Personally, I don't see it necessarily as true artificial intelligence. You still need to give it prompts and information. It doesn't work with other people. It's not like the AI is deciding to go and do it. It's a tool. And I don't think it's going to necessarily destroy careers, but I also do think that it's just another opportunity for corporations to go with something, which is what they've been doing. I mean, like we talk about like formula and in film and stuff, and like Hollywood is just like, yep, gotta make sure it follows the formula. And there's the same thing with AI, like that. Of course they're going to use that because it's cheaper than hiring a writer or an artist, and then it's going to be bad, and so they're going to realize that they're going to have to bring the people back. But I do think there is a lot of concern to be had about privacy, a lot of concern to be had about lots of things. I don't know. I don't want to like deter people. There are people that are like doing AI art and that's their thing, and that's cool. Go do your thing. Me personally, I tried to use it for like storyboards and concept art and stuff, and it's just didn't quite cut it. My DP sends me like an AI art thing every other week, and it's like, cool. That's not what that's not what I'm picturing, but like that's to me, I'll always want to hire an artist.
Sure.
But I know I'm not a corporation, so
one thing talking about kind of like the power of your film as well too, the opening scene where she's talking to Siri. And it was the first moment on my second watch of this film. So after I kind of knew where the film was going and where it took me and everything, and then going back and watching it again, when she's talking to Siri, it was the first time I ever could see like the picture of that's retro. Like that's old style AI, you know? Yeah. And it kind of like blew my mind for a second. Cause I was like, sometimes when you're in the generations and things just move along, you can't see it until it's all done. You look back. But in that moment, I was like, oh, that's old. It's only got so many responses, or it can only, you know, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we're going to look back and think, oh, remember when we said Alexa set a timer?
Yeah. Yeah. Kids in the future generation be like, oh, how did you just live with these basic responses? Because she's like, you know, is it the right decision or something? She asked it a kind of moral question. She's like, I don't know.
Would you like me to search the web?
Yeah.
It's like the most like.
That was a cool moment. And so I think this movie strikes a lot of chords like that. And I think that's why I really enjoyed revisiting it. And I think that's what's drawing a lot of people to it. So I did want to point that out.
Sure.
Just for you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do think because, like you said, AI and technology is moving so quickly. Mm-hmm. And when I first wrote it, I was like, is this too like ambitious to assume that like by, you know, in 50 years we'll have walking robots? And it's like, suspension of disbelief. Now I'm like, oh no, the film's like antiquated already. Like we already have cherries out there, right? But what I do think the film does say that is still relevant, and I think will continue to be relevant, even though our depiction of AI is very different than the AI that is currently like happening in our world. I do think that AI will always, like a lot of things, AI is going to reflect the best and worst parts of the people that create it, right? So if it's built for nefarious, opportunistic, dare I say, capitalistic purposes, that's what it's going to do, right? If it's built for altruism, and then it's better. But again, it's going to also inherit our flaws, and so we just need to be careful and mindful as we develop these technologies, and do so with compassion and integrity. But you know, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk will watch this and think, yeah, he's right. Forget money. Fuck money. I don't need money. Ethics. Yeah. So with that in mind, with that in mind, it's hard to be an optimist. But yeah, I do think that is still relevant.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I have just one more question for you. I don't want to keep you too long, but I am curious, what is some things that you want to do while you're in Korea?
Oh, food. I was like, okay, so I saw one of those, I've always wanted to eat sushi off of a conveyor belt. I saw one of those and it's like, okay, I don't know when I'll ever get a chance to go to Japan. So I'm going to do that at some point this week. Obviously I think I'm doing barbecue tonight. Nice. I didn't know I was like rainy today as I was like walking through. I was like, I don't know what to get. But the guy that picked me up from the airport told me I do need to go to the Mr. McDonald restaurant. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. It's got a big M. On the logo.
Yeah, local spot.
Yeah, local Korean place. Yeah. But apparently here in Korea, their burgers, they do like a shrimp patty under a beef patty. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I gotta try that. And there's like a special sauce. It's really good.
Yeah.
So my cultural experience today was going to Mickey D's and getting the shrimp burger. But it was great. Definitely, I need to get some chicken, some fried chicken. I want. I definitely, like, I've seen ads for like I don't know what it's not pho or ramen, but it's like a soup.
Well, yeah, we've got a couple. Korea's a big soup place, but they've got like kalguksu is probably the one that looks similar. It's like knife cut noodles. They're almost like dumpling. The dough of the noodles is almost like a dumpling style, so they're thicker noodles. It's so good. Yeah.
All right. Really what else do you recommend? What do I need to?
So it's monsoon season and it's rainy. Yeah. So typically a lot of people like to eat. It's called pajeon, and is the dish that you eat. And makgeolli is what you drink.
Gotcha.
Makgeolli is an alcoholic drink, and it's very smooth. It's delicious.
I'm in.
And you drink it, and you eat it with the pajang, which is people call it a Korean pancake, but it's not sweet in any kind of way. But it's crispy and kind of fried, and it's really good. You guys check
is that
out.
like a breakfast type thing?
No,
Or
it's
do
an
you get
any
it
type
time?
thing. People
Cool.
call it
All
because
right.
it's a flat. It's flat. It doesn't even really look like a pancake. It's just a flat round dish, but it's really good and it's perfect. It's what people love to eat on rainy days and up hiking on the mountains and stuff
Sweet.
too. Yeah, and then there's a ton of stuff. I'll have to point you in the right direction.
Please do. Please do. I need that.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I hope you enjoy your time here at the rest of the festival. I am so glad I got an opportunity to speak with you. I am rooting for you as a Jacksonville native.
Oh.
Super excited to
Hit me
see
up
you.
next time you're in town.
Yeah, it would be great to hang out. We'll go catch a flick at Sunray and go grab a beer at Rain Dogs across the street. So that'd be awesome.
Fantastic, man.
Well, everyone, definitely check out the Artifice Girl. It is available in any kind of like streaming. You could get it on Amazon, you can get it on Apple TV, you can get it on YouTube, you can rent it and buy it. So definitely check it out. It is worth it. Absolutely check it out. People are really enjoying it at the festival so far, and we got to get this guy some more support. So thank you for watching. If you do see the film, let us know what you think about it. And until next time, don't forget to keep chilling.